All right, welcome back into the Double Coverage Podcast. As always, Dylan Mill, joined by my guy JaVon. Today, it's probably going to be heated. The debate is, I think it's going to be real from the text messages earlier. We're each giving our top 10 NFL wide receiver rankings list updated after the 2025 season. However, we do have to start the podcast on a bit of a sad note. Unfortunately, Rondale Moore passed away, tragically took his life this past week. Even NFL players, they're going through it. If you need help, obviously the comment section's open. We'll show love in there, but I'll probably put like suicide awareness number on the screen or something. But, it's okay to not be okay, but, take care of yourself, check in on the homies. However, back to a more positive note now. Maybe. We'll see. Depends on how much me and JaVon's list agree or disagree here. Last week, we had a monster episode with Darian. He couldn't make it this week. We talked about it, but the schedules didn't work out. But me and JaVon back up here, as always, on a Wednesday for you guys. This is going to get spicy. I'll just kick it off. My number 10 is Nico Collins, wide receiver from the Houston Texans. Nico Collins coming off of a pretty solid campaign in the 2025 season. He tied for ninth in receiving yards with 1,117 in just 15 games played. He had 6 touchdowns in that span as well. You got to remember, not all those games that he played were with his starting quarterback, C.J. Stroud. Davis Mills was in there, but Davis Mills kind of likes to feed Nico Collins, so I don't think it really hurt his numbers that much. But Nico Collins burst onto the scene a couple years ago, and he's been a pretty consistent staple of my top 10 wide receivers over the last few years. Since then, I'm a big size guy in my wide receivers. I do value a guy who can really go up and get any ball. Nico Collins has elite size. He's got really solid breakaway speed as well for the size that he has. He is a big play kind of guy, and he's been really consistent over the last few years. So to me, I had to get him on my list. I do have him a little bit lower maybe than some people might expect, but I do have him at number 10. He did make the list for me.
Dang. I mean, he really can do it all. And like you said, his breakaway speed is amazing. He has strong hands, and I think his separation skills are like very underrated. Like, I don't know how he gives me like T. Higgins vibes, but he can create.
He's got more muscle to him though.
Yeah, he's got more muscle, and like he's a very good route runner, which I mean, from his rookie year up until now has been a drastic change. But
I think his comp to me is more AJ Brown-esque. I think he's more AJ Brown than he is T. Higgins. I think it's a little bit of a combination of the both, though, like you mentioned, because especially this year, AJ Brown's explosiveness wasn't quite to the level of T. Higgins or Nico Collins. So I do think he's a blend of those guys. Did he make your list?
So, no, he didn't make my list, but it was like a 10A and 10B. But I ended up having to squeeze him off. I wanted to put him on there, but man.
I feel you.
My number 10 is Devontae. So it was between him.
Oh, see, now I'm out.
Adams.
Now I'm out. Devontae's not on my top 10 list, and him over Nico's crazy to me.
I don't think that's crazy, bro.
I think I listen, and I got nothing but respect and love for Devontae Adams. I believe he led the NFL in receiving touchdowns this year. He did 14, a big margin there. But 789 yards this year. He doesn't have the size of Nico, doesn't have the speed of Nico. He's a route technician, but Nico should have been higher than him.
Hey, well, I understand the stats aren't there, but he's playing with Puka Nacua, bro. Like, he's not the wide receiver one. I mean, I get it. I mean, at the same time, bro, with Nico Collins, I feel like you compared him to A.J. Brown. The way Nico Collins and A.J. Brown are used in their offenses, especially last year, has not been the same. You know, some may even put Nico Collins over A.J. Brown. So that's the same argument I have with Devontae over Nico Collins. You know, Devontae, he still has – honestly, I think he could still be a top 5 receiver. People just look at his age. Everyone wants to look at his age, and they're like, oh, yeah, like he's played with horrible quarterbacks. He's been banged up. You know, he's been hurt because his freaking quarterbacks have been throwing him hospital balls.
Him playing with horrible quarterbacks, some of that's his own choosing. Like you wanted to go play with Derek Carr, bro.
Yeah, and then he's like, I had to get out of here before I lose my life.
But and then Jimmy
Yeah.
Garoppolo came in. Listen, I have nothing but respect for Davante Adams. 10 is a little high for me. He was 15 on my list.
15.
Yeah,
So do you have Zay Flowers over
no.
Devontae? Okay. I just wanted
Yeah.
to, okay.
None of these guys made the list. So at 16, I have Jalen Waddle. And at 14, I have Chris Olave. I have him right in the middle of those two guys.
See, my thing is like I try not to, especially with great wide receivers, they don't always age like running backs. So I try not to integrate age as much unless they had a down year. I don't think Devontae Adams had a down year. He led the league in touchdown receptions and he excelled at his role. He was the best at his role.
I don't think he was terrible. And again, we're debating top 10 level guys here.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to come across like, oh, I think Davante Adams is shit. Like I think Davante is great, but
Yeah.
he's just not in my top 10 anymore.
That's fair.
A guy that I got at number 9, this is fully 1000% an eye test move. We're not going to be able to debate numbers here because this guy won't sniff it, especially if we're looking at numbers from last year. But at number 9, I have New York Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson. I still think that Garrett Wilson is one of the pure best wide receivers in football, but he is just quite literally in the worst situation imaginable, whether it's Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor throwing him the ball this year, and he got hurt this season. He only played 8 games and led the Jets in receiving yards. If that tells you how bad of a situation he's in. 395 receiving yards was enough to lead that team in receiving yards this season. And listen, when it comes to Garrett Wilson and the numbers-based argument, if because he had a down 2025, you'd rather knock him off your list to elevate some player that had a good 2025, I get it if that's your prerogative. For me, I'm talking about if I'm starting a team tomorrow, who are the 10 guys I'm taking for one season? Boom, 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 boom. Garrett Wilson falls at 9 on my list. He's an excellent route technician. His catch radius is insane. His catch ability is insane. 2 years ago, that catch he had versus the Texans on Halloween, that was the play of the year. So Garrett Wilson, a little bit lacking, I think, in the explosive breakaway speed to have big plays, but everything else that you want out of a wide receiver, he's got.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really thinks that that's a crazy statement putting Garrett Wilson in the top 10. I feel like everyone's kind of aware of his situation. He's not in my top 10.
I think people maybe forgot about him a little bit because of the injury and just because of how down of a year he had. I feel like when somebody clicked on this video, they probably weren't like, oh, Garrett Wilson will be on the list.
Yeah, and I mean, it sucks that he's riding away on the New York Jets. He might be the most underrated receiver in football today, just because we'll never get to see him with a good quarterback unless he requests a trade or something drastic happens in New York.
I mean, I'm just hoping we could see him with like a Kyler Murray at this point for this man's career.
Yeah, like a top 18. 20.
I mean, he had Aaron Rodgers and was balling.
Yeah, and it sucks because it just seems like the quarterbacks are just ruined by the Jets every time. We just saw it with Sam Darnold. He leaves and a couple years later wins the Super Bowl. But honestly, bro, I wish he was on the Steelers right now because the Steelers had Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers again, reunited, and DK Metcalf, bro.
Garrett Wilson, I mean, who's your number 9?
My number 9 is AJ Brown. Now, okay.
It's valid. It's valid.
And honestly, I saw a trade.
Just to clarify, because we're talking about it, AJ Brown is my number 8. So we could just have a full AJ Brown conversation right here from both of us.
Okay. I got a question for you because I saw this on Twitter earlier. Would you trade AJ Brown for Garrett Wilson?
Ooh.
Now I know him and Smitty.
I mean,
kind of
like,
similar.
The one for one, I would when you factor in age and longevity.
I feel like you're a big age guy. I just feel like when it comes to
I'm not.
receivers
for the Philadelphia Eagles, I think Garrett Wilson's what, 3-4 years younger than AJ Brown, but he more fits the age of Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. So that's kind of where I would go with Garrett Wilson. Also, if we're moving AJ Brown, it probably means there's some form of he doesn't want to be there, where I would imagine Garrett Wilson would be thrilled to be a member of
Yeah.
the Philadelphia Eagles and off of the New York Jets.
Yeah, I feel that. It's just, he is coming off an injury. AJ Brown hasn't really had that much injury history. So
Yeah.
that's a plus too. So although the
I mean,
age is
AJ's
there,
also, listen, on my list, I have him a spot higher. You had
yeah.
AJ on your list, and you said Garrett Wilson wasn't on your list. So
Yeah.
when it comes to AJ Brown, I still think in terms of a pure one-on-one rep, his size gives him an ultimate advantage. And if everybody in the NFL had to play man coverage, AJ Brown to me would still be a top 5 wide receiver in football because
Easy.
the mismatch is just that heavy. His contested catch rate, still one of the best in football. AJ Brown on a slant on 3rd down and 4, 3rd down and 6 feels automatic at this point. This year, the effort was lacking, and we have to ding them for that because there were players that are going to be above him on our list that balled out. And also the big play ability. Is that because of the effort, or is that because as he gets it as an older player, he's losing that little step explosively? He could still use his body to make crazy plays, and we saw Mike Evans make a career out of it. So I don't think that AJ Brown necessarily needs to fall out of top 10s, but I knocked him down my list this year for sure.
Yeah, I feel like coming off of the Super Bowl win, he was basically in everybody's top 5. But the way he was utilized this past season, it hurt him a lot. And the reason why he's not really in the top 5 anymore for me, especially, is because number one, JSN just like went absolutely insane this season. But number two, like, how can you trust Sirianni or even Nico Mannion to use him correctly? You just don't know what to expect, and that's really what it is. This list is expectations. So
yeah, and it's also, we've talked about it at length on the podcast, so we don't need to dive deep into it. I think a lot of the Eagles' offensive struggles were Patullo related, but there were individual plays that you could pinpoint this season that the lack of success was due to a lack of effort on the part of AJ Brown.
yeah.
Like, you were schemed open if you finished the route. And that, I mean, listen, like, that's your job as a wide receiver. So he falls down, I think, both of our lists compared to where we had him last year. He's at 9 for you. He's at 8 for me. So I'll kick it back to you. Who is number 8 on your list?
Number 8 for me is Drake London.
Okay, so he was one of the first names off my list.
Wow. Yeah. Next season, as long as they have competent quarterback play, I feel like everybody's going to really get to see how good Drake London is. Now, granted, his situation has not been Garrett Wilson's situation, but it's been.
He was number 11 for me. I thought so, but I just wanted to fact check. He was the first name off my list.
Yeah, it's been. I just think it's crazy how the Falcons can use all this draft capital on offensive players, and it seems like they've done it like the last 3 or 4 years. And this past year was the first year one of them really blew, and Bijan Robinson.
Kyle Pitts had a career year too.
He did, but to be the highest drafted tight end in NFL history, I feel like it should be earlier than year 4. I mean, he was technically
I agree
with
you. And Drake London is the number 1 receiving option on this team, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and the monster games he put together this year, I think everybody really got to see his potential. And if he had a top 10 quarterback, I feel like everybody would have him at least in their top 8.
Well, in the game he had versus New England against Gonzo, I mean, what do you have, 3 touchdowns that game?
Yeah, I mean, I had him in fantasy that week and a parlay.
Like, Drake London, I believe might be the most underrated wide receiver in football, and it's possible me having him at 11 is underrating him.
Yeah, it's him and Garrett Wilson. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why, I put Garrett on the list. I hope the Falcons could figure it out at QB. They're planning to cut Kirk Cousins, but I'm wondering if there's a plan to bring him back just for less money, because I'm still not sure that Michael Penix is going to be available to open up next season for Atlanta. But even at that, Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins is the same quarterback situation he had this year. I just don't know if there's a clear solution down the line. Do you just kind of eat it on the draft pick of Penix, decide we're going in another direction with this new regime that's coming in, move off of Kirk Cousins, maybe take a shot on a flyer quarterback like Malik Willis or Mac Jones, compete with Penix, and If you're not good, draft a guy next year. It really sucks that they don't have their first round pick this year.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to overpay for Mac Jones because the 49ers already don't want to get rid of him
Right,
already.
right. I'm just like, do you let Kirk Cousins go and bring in a younger name to compete with Michael Penix is where I'm at. Like Will Levis, Malik Willis. Like those guys aren't, by the way, much older than Michael Penix. Will Levis might actually be younger than Michael Penix.
Yeah, I just feel like investing at on a young quarterback at this stage, like you already got what Bijan going into like what year 4. You
Mm-hmm.
already got Kyle Pitts on a franchise tag. Drake London, you just gave him a big extension. Like you need to see what you can do right now. You need to elevate this team right now. The defense already showed that they can be a competent defense. James Pierce Jr. had a couple off the field issues.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be a part of that defense next year, to be determined. But Jalen Walker was solid. Xavier Watts was solid. I still like AJ Terrell. So there are tons of pieces there. Drake London being one of them, being a really, really solid player. He's your wide receiver 8. My number 7, a guy who got hurt this year, but it's Malik Neighbors. I still think Malik Neighbors is one of the best talents in football. I wouldn't be shocked if next year, getting a full season with Jackson Dart, a new coaching staff in there, if Malik Neighbors climbs into the top 5 of this list, because I think he has all the traits to do so. His athleticism. We'll see where it's at post knee injury, but prior to it, I thought he was one of the most explosive wide receivers in the NFL, can create separation deep, could really do it all. You remember coming out of LSU, the thought was he's the complete receiver and Brian Thomas is the deep ball guy. I think Brian Thomas showed he's more than just a deep ball guy, but Malik Neighbors is the most complete wide receiver from that draft class and still remains to be that way to this day. He's really excellent, and I hope we get to see him healthy next year.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to notice a trend with my list when players who have missed like a lot of games, I just kept them off the top 10. And it's because bro, I don't be knowing what to expect. I get it. Sports medicine in 2026 is different.
Neighbors' knee injury was pretty serious, so that's fair.
Yeah, and if I wasn't paying attention to injuries, I was definitely still have Tyreek Hill in mind, just off of respect alone. I mean, he played with like the worst quarterback in football. Or like
Tyreek's injury was crazy bad, though.
So Neighbors was bad too.
Tyreek's leg was like sideways, dude.
Yeah, that was disgusting. It was like Dak Prescott a few years ago.
Yeah.
Scat.
So Scats was gross too. But I still believe that Malik has the ceiling of being the number 1 wide receiver in football. I'm not saying he's going to get there, but I think that ceiling is there with his talent.
Wow. That's high praise. You think he has potential to be better than Jamar Chase?
I think he has potential to be better than every wide receiver in football.
Dang.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, but the traits that he has, I do think it's there.
Well, yeah, and then you got Harbaugh. I know he's not he's a guy.
He obviously the play he got hurt on was a deep route, and he got that ball. So he can get it deep, he can get it underneath, and he's also sneaky, really good in the red zone as a contested catch guy. He's smart at finding ways to get open and protecting the ball with his body.
He's complete for sure. And when the Giants finally get back fully healthy, because all their weapons basically got banged up last year at some point. Even Dart had like the most concussions by a quarterback.
It was crazy. He went to the blue medical tent more than any quarterback I can remember, and he actually never got removed from a game going to the blue medical tent. But he was still dealing with stuff. So Neighbors is my 7. Who cracked 7 on your list?
Number 7, I have CeeDee Lamb.
I knew you were going to pull off this move. I'm not going to be mad at it yet, but I know I'm going to be mad at it in a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with CeeDee Lamb. He has been banged up the last 2 seasons. I think he's missed at least 2 or 3 or 4 games the last couple of seasons. But when he is healthy, the Cowboys are probably the best passing attack in football, bro. Besides the Rams, if I'm being honest. Like I get it, Joe Burrow healthy, T Higgins and them up there, and with Jamar, but I ain't gonna lie. What Darian said last week, Dak Prescott with these weapons healthy, man, he's underrated as well. But I feel like George Pickens playing with CeeDee Lamb has really elevated their offense.
Mhm.
And it's elevated George Pickens, who I will be saying later. Spoiler alert, he's over CeeDee Lamb. But I mean, I would have picked him over CeeDee Lamb last year too. I don't know, but I didn't because he was on the Steelers. I should have picked him over him last year too. I'm still pissed about that. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb, maybe I'm underrating him. Maybe
I think you are.
Maybe I am. But
I mean, my thoughts on CD are I still have him to come. So I'm gonna keep it short and say, similar to what I said about Neighbors, he's a guy who could do it all. So I respect.
You think
him.
he has potential to be the best receiver in football?
No. Like I just think he's like a fully complete receiver.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, everybody can't be the best receiver in football. Dang. Now, granted, there are, Jamar has been a
I think they're right now. For me, the top 4 was its own separate tier, in the league.
Yeah.
So my number 6 is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh, we got the same one. Okay, finally.
We both have Amon-Ra at 6. I dinged Amon-Ra a little bit because while he is super productive, he's super productive from one spot. I'm sure if you lined him up on the outside, he could be successful. And I don't want to fall into the trap because we all did just say this about JSN 2 years ago, and then JSN got moved to the outside and led the NFL in receiving yards. So I'm not going to say he can't do it, but from what I know, he is highly productive from the slot. And when I'm ticky-tacking who's a top 5 guy and who's not, that does hurt him for me in terms of his versatility and completeness as a player. Now, obviously, didn't completely kill his value. He is number 6 on our list. I think that he is one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent wide receiver in football in terms of what you were getting week in and week out from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Strong hands, excellent rack ability, great work ethic. I don't know if you saw him on the TV show Receiver, but the dude's a dog. The personality, diva wide receiver, is not there with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Stu wants the ball, but he wants to win. But yeah, man, Amon-Ra at 6, I think, is a more than fair ranking. The dude's an absolute beast.
Yeah, like you said, he's very, very consistent. He's willing to do everything, block, throw passes. I seem like it don't even matter. And Dan Campbell, and before that, Ben Johnson, they were using him everywhere. They were even lining him up in the backfield some plays.
Oh, yeah, he's willing to block, too. He's gritty.
Yeah, and he takes care of his body. He doesn't miss games that much. His work ethic is 100% there. I mean, there should be no reason why he can't stay this high for the next 3 or 4 years, to be honest with you, because I ain't gonna lie. I want to see him lined up on the outside, man. He doesn't really have the size to be a jump ball X receiver.
I just don't think he has the explosiveness off the line either to kill any of these man corners over at the top. I'm just and again, this is where I have him at 6. Like, he is the best pure slot wide receiver in football, but if he's lined up against PS2 1-on-1, who are you betting on to win that route if he's on the outside?
Yeah, and usually with situations like that, they try to get him with emotion, just moving.
Motion, linebackers on him, safeties on him, and again, he super excels in the role. But I do think it's fair where we have him. Number 5, I have the wide receiver 1 for the Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, which I'm sure you've realized means George not on the list.
Wait, not on the list? What do you mean? Nah, you're crazy, bro.
I mean, he's not on the list. So I have CeeDee Lamb ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown because what I just talked about there with Amon-Ra, CeeDee Lamb is more versatile. CeeDee Lamb can win on the outside. We've seen CeeDee Lamb excel over multiple years with multiple different systems, with Amari Cooper, without Amari Cooper, with George Pickens, without George Pickens, with Mike McCarthy, with Brian Schottenheimer, with Dak Prescott, with Cooper Rush. I've seen CeeDee Lamb be an absolute dog in all of those situations very consistently for more than just one season. I've seen him be highly productive. He is their wide receiver 1. in Dallas. The only people that don't know that are you and maybe George, and that's it.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. I feel like this year he's gonna prove everybody wrong again. I don't know what
Is Pickens at your 5?
Yeah, 100%. He's at my
So,
5.
so, I mean,
I
so
wanted to put him higher.
we both have our perceived Dallas Cowboys wide receiver one
Nah.
at number 5.
Okay. I can understand not having him top 5. You don't think he's a top 10 receiver?
I had him at 12.
Man, he's better than Drake
This is
London,
why I
bro.
wanted this is why I wanted Darian on here, because I wanted to know, was he splitting the difference or was he on a side specifically?
Man, I feel like he wouldn't have had him top 5.
I need everybody in the comments section to let us know, where do you have George Pickens ranked? Because me and JaVon are just not going to agree on this. And I thought Pickens was amazing last year, but I got to see more than just one season of highly productive play. And I know you're a Steelers fan, so you've been watching them closer than I have. So maybe, like, I've seen great plays, great games out of him, but I've also seen some stinkers in there. Maybe that's the quarterback play. Maybe that's the offense. Could I just see it again before I put you in the top 10? Could I just see it again?
See, the thing is, this is coming from I been knew he was a top 5 talent at the receiver position.
You did say that to me multiple times before the open of the year, by the way. So anybody that agrees with you, JaVon's been on this wave.
It's just okay. He didn't put up CD Lamb stats with Cooper Rush, but his situation was a little bit different. He had a defensive-minded head coach and Mike Tomlin. You know, Matt Canada and Arthur Smith were calling his plays. Has anyone heard of Matt Canada since he got fired as a Steelers coordinator? I don't even think he's coaching college football. So,
and I don't blame you for this. Again, like this year, I moved him up to 12.
Yeah, and I mean, I just feel like he's finally being able to be utilized to his full potential, and he's proven like he can play with other receivers. I get it. It's like that may be more on the quarterback to get all the receivers involved, but he's going crazy, and CeeDee Lamb is going crazy too. You know, It's like you look at their stats, and especially when they play together, and the offense is like night and day, even from previous years where the Cowboys had amazing offenses.
Do you think it's possible that Pickens did benefit from being viewed as the number 2 target in the offense, at least to open up the season?
Yeah, well, maybe, but the thing is, CD missed games, and
granted, and Pickens did still eat in a lot of those games.
He did have a couple stinkers in there, but I think that was a more of lack of effort, which has been. You know,
against Green Bay, he was 8 for 134 and 2 touchdowns. Against Carolina, 9 for 168 and 1 touchdown. Against the Raiders, 9 for 144 and a touchdown. Against my Eagles, the second time, 9 for 146 and a touchdown. Against the Chargers, 7 for 130 and a touchdown. So there were absolutely some games in there where he was balling.
Yeah, and the thing is, man, I mean, you said that CD has balled out with Cooper Rush. He's balled out with worse quarterbacks than Cooper Rush. I'll tell you that. Every single time he's produced on the previous team, the Steelers, none of those offensive people, you don't have Mason Rudolph. He's not a starting quarterback anymore. Kenny Pickett's not a starting quarterback anymore. The Steelers head coach isn't even on the Steelers no more, and he produced under all of those circumstances. So I don't know. He does. Maybe CeeDee Lamb is a better route runner. I'll give him that. But I have seen George Pickens, beat the press off a slant and take it 60 yards as well in a playoff game.
I think the thing I would most give Pickens over Lamb is the contested catch ability. I think that he's got better hands when facing contact. Absolutely. I think in terms of route running, like you said, that's CeeDee Lamb. I think in terms of big playability, they're actually really similar. I know that Pickens had more this year, but 2 years ago, CeeDee Lamb had a ton of them.
Well, yeah, CD I feel like he's more yak, and George Pickens is more like late hands. Oh, it's like late hands. You didn't even know the ball was getting thrown.
I think about that catch that he had versus the Browns. If you want to talk about what his catch radius and ability is,
oh yeah, and that was that his rookie year? I think that was his rookie year,
there's just no denying what Pickens can do there. For me, the reason he didn't make my list was one. just some of the guys above him I thought were more talented in terms of Malik Neighbors and Garrett Wilson. And some of the other guys I think just did it more consistently. Like Nico Collins, I had above George Pickens because one, you look at their 2025s, and to be honest, they're close enough, especially when you factor in the fact that Pickens played 2 more games, 1,400 yards to 1,100 yards, and then 9 touchdowns to 6 touchdowns. Pretty similar enough, but Nico's been doing this for 2-3 years, and Pickens hasn't been. If we see another season out of Pickens, and I'm not even saying the man has to hit 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns again, but if we see another 1,100 plus yards where he looks as dominant as he did in spurts this season, he'll for sure make my top 10 next year.
Yeah, I mean, if
we were ranking 2025 seasons, he obviously would have been in there, and he probably would have been in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I mean, Pickens, he's my guy. Just like just like how the Patriots were like my team before the season started. Mm-hmm. Pickens is gonna be my guy.
At least you stuck with this take. You were ready to sell the Patriots as quick as could be after that Super Bowl.
I ain't gonna lie about that, but I think we may have the same top. Nah, we're not.
We have the same. I think we have the same top 4 players. Definitely a different order.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Puka Nacua. My number 4 is Puka Nacua. I do want to be clear here, though. I said it earlier, but maybe some people are skipping around and getting to this point in the video. The top 4 for me is the elite of the NFL. This is its own tier. If you want to reorder it any which way, I'm not mad at you. My way is obviously the correct way, but I'm not mad at you if you get it wrong, as long as you have these 4 here. So Puka Nacua, my number 4. Puka's been uber consistent. He missed some time last year, but if you did the math on where he would have been last year, technically he should have back-to-back seasons of over 1,500 yards. This year, he pushed JSN for the receiving title at the end of the year. Productivity, production-wise, there's no denying what Puka gives you. I do think some of his situation is obviously pretty friendly. Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay. Now you get Devontae Adams, who teams got to focus on as well. A good run game. It's just a great system overall to be in. The reason that I have Puka at 4, and I have the 3 guys that we'll get to above him, is the intangibles in terms of athleticism and build I prefer on the other 3 guys.
So it's just a preference thing.
Like I said, it's just a preference thing when it comes to this. Productivity-wise, I get it if you're like, I don't give a shit what he looks like. Puka produces this, and this. I'd want him. So be it. If I was building a team, though, and I didn't know what was going to be around, I'd rather the other guys in their athletic abilities.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair, man. At least he's in the top 5. And we'll talk about Puka a little bit more later, but he does it all on the field, man. And number 4, I have JSN. And although, of course, I have him at 4, I do think he's one of the best receivers in the league. I don't think he's on the same tier as my top 3. I think and it's only because he's done it for 1 year. You know, that's it. Maybe he can end up being on the same tier. But when I look at, you know, obviously our top 3 guys with Puka, or my top 3 guys, where Puka, Jamar, and Jettis, they've done it consistently longer. And not to mention, like, I want to see him now. Everybody knows what he can do now. So, you know, before it was like he was just a slot guy. I mean, his hands are way better than I thought. Mm-hmm. His hands are way better than I thought, if I'm being honest.
Puka, I think, is either first or second in the NFL in hands.
Yeah, and it was a lot of, we'll talk about the other receivers later, but some of them actually had controversy going into the draft with their hands, or the rookie year with their hands.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So it's kind of ironic, and now they're some of the best receivers in the league. But JSN, he's definitely moving forward. I feel like he has potential to be on the same level as Justin Jefferson and Jamar and Puka.
And I get it. Your thing is that you got to see more of it. And I just said a similar thing with Pickens. So I think some people might be asking themselves why I don't feel that way. To be honest, it's just because I've always believed in JSN. I was just always higher on him than most people. So kind of a
That's
similar way. So like where you were like, oh, I knew Pickens was this. So that's why the second he produced like this, I was comfortable throwing him in my rankings. Like that's how I feel about JSN. Like if Garrett Wilson got traded this offseason and went somewhere and had 1,400 yards, I might move him to number 5 on my list because
yeah.
I just already felt like he had that potential in him. So both of us got some guys that we believed in a little bit longer, and we're
What
just
he did
eager to
this
move
season,
up.
yeah, what he did this season was impressive because it's
Oh
not
yeah,
like he got to
offensive
play
player
with.
of the year.
It's not like he got to play with Devontae Adams or
Yeah.
T. Higgins or George Pickens. Like it's not like he got to play with all of these guys. His second best receiver didn't come until halfway through the season, basically, and he was a returner specialist.
Yeah, and
So
Cooper Kupp was good in the Super Bowl, but the key was pacing himself this year.
yeah,
Obviously.
So that makes it even more impressive, honestly.
Yeah, I think we might have the same number 3. At 3, I have Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
I'm still not dropping Jefferson too low. I know statistically it wasn't a great year. I think everybody who watched the Minnesota Vikings this year could kind of know the blame was a lot on J.J. McCarthy, a decent amount on that offensive line, and not really any on Justin Jefferson. I don't think anybody watched that team this year and thought this was indicative of who Justin Jefferson is as a player. I obviously have Chase and JSN above Jefferson. I did move JSN above him because I thought JSN's year was that impressive. It wasn't really a knock at Jefferson. It was more praise for JSN. But in terms of building a receiver in a lab, you could argue that Justin Jefferson is who you would build right now in terms of the size, the athleticism that he has. I think he has the best hands in football. I still think about that catch that he had versus Buffalo.
I watched that game too.
One-handed going to the ground. I'm like, yep. To me, that's the best catch I've ever seen. In terms of degree of difficulty, the moment that it was 4th down, triple coverage, one hand. Like I know people will talk about the Odell one. You might talk about the Pickens one. To me, that Jefferson catch is still the hardest catch I've ever seen. And
it was a good catch. I feel like the dude caught it. Like he.
You think he had some help?
Yeah, like he had help and he just took it away. But it still was impressive. It was 4th down, and they would have won that game without that catch for sure.
And again, these 4 guys, I view them as all elite. So he could do everything. Yeah. I just think he is that much more athletic than Puka, but lacks some of the explosiveness or route running technician ability of the 2 guys above him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, regardless of what you may think his performance this past year, it hurt him. And it's not his fault, and that sucks. But if he would have had 1,500 yards, I don't think I would maybe put him over Puka. I don't think
he had 1,048 for reference, only 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, if he would have had 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, would we be saying he's over Jamar, especially with the quarterback situation that both of them have? Probably not. But the fact that we still respect his talent enough to put him in the top 3, and he's in the smack middle of his prime as well. It's definitely impressive, and they got to figure out what they're going to do soon because I don't think Jettas likes his quarterback that much. He during the season he was trying to defend him like on streams and in interviews. It seems like now he's kind of like over it, now that the season's over.
I forget he said something recently about like somebody asked him and he was like, yeah, the quarterback play wasn't good. And it was just like, oh, the quarterback play. And to be fair though, to JJ McCarthy, I'm not some big JJ McCarthy enthusiast. I don't think he's going to be this amazing player. I do think he's a little bit overhated right now because he went into his first starts with half of his offensive line banged up, including his starting left tackle, who, when he missed games last year, Sam Darnold, who just won a Super Bowl, looked pretty bad. And then because of how bad that offensive line was and because it was his first starts as a young quarterback, he held the ball too long, he got hurt. And then it felt like he was just playing hurt the whole year and racing to try and come back to prove something. And then it was the offensive line was hurt. Then he was playing hurt. Then he's also learning a ton right now. And I think like everything encapsulated led to a really bad product. But let's also remember the
Yeah.
Vikings did go 9-8. Like,
Not to mention, it's not like they had prime LaDainian Tomlinson back there. Their starting
right,
running back
right.
was George Mason until they
And,
got
and
back Aaron Jones in week
and
12
I
or
do
something.
think that is some fair criticism of Kevin O'Connell, that he was a little too pass happy even when JJ was still struggling. Maybe
Yeah.
it's because he didn't have a run game he believed in, but I digress. I think better things are to come for JJ McCarthy and Justin Jefferson. So you had Jefferson at 3 as well. My number 2 is JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, coming off of a
Dang.
career season. He had 1,793 yards and 10 touchdowns on 119 receptions this season. He is your reigning offensive player of the year. I believe he outlived any expectations that people had for him. I was high on him coming out, and I still didn't think offensive player of the year one day. You know, coming into the season, there were question marks on how him and Cooper Kupp would coexist, both guys kind of being heavy slot personnel
I think
players.
you questioned it.
I did question it. Well, so I didn't question necessarily what he would be, but I did question
The offense. Like,
I questioned, was that the most effective spot for him? So similar to how I talked about Amon-Ra earlier, where it was like, if he had to move to the outside, do I think he would just fall off a cliff? No. But I did question, is on the outside the most productive use of JSN's skills? Because it's certainly not the most productive use of Cooper Kupp's at this point in his career.
yeah.
And then JSN blew away all expectations. I thought he was going to go from great to good. He went from great to elite. And for me, he is one of, if not the best route runner in the NFL today. He has elite hands and the versatility. We know he's excellent in the slot. We know he's excellent outside. And shit, we saw it all playoffs, especially against that Rams. He was lining up in the backfield.
Yeah.
So you could line him up anywhere, and he produced at a high level. Add into the fact that I already really liked him as a player to begin with, it was enough for me to move him up to 2.
He's like a super juiced version. And this is crazy to say because St. Brown is still amazing, but he's like a St. Brown plus. Like, it's crazy.
And I think, and again, that's why St. Brown is at 6 and JSN's at 2 for me.
Yeah. And honestly, I think St. Brown could have the stats that JSN had. It's just he's playing with Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery and Jamison Williams and all of these Webb and Laporta. Like, he's playing with all of these guys. JSN, I mean, it is impressive that he can put up these stats without the same talent that the Lions have. I mean, but dang, I feel like Amon-Ra could do the same thing, and they're very similar. But JSN proved this season.
Yeah, I don't know if Amon-Ra is having some of those breakaway touchdowns that JSN had.
Yeah, and he can't. Well, we don't. He hasn't proven that he can play on the outside as well as him either. Like you said, he's become one of the best route runners in the NFL.
Yeah,
you know.
So who's your number 2?
So my number 2, I have Ja'Marr Chase. And
he's my 1.
It was, but him and Justin Jefferson is interesting, but I've seen him ball out without T. Higgins. I've seen him ball out with Joe Flacco like first week, like 4 days.
Threw him the ball like 50 times, but he was open like 50 times. So,
bro, I went to a sports bar to watch that Steelers versus Bengals game, and Ja'Marr had like 15 catches or some crazy. And I'm like, yo, they're just letting him run drags across the freaking field. And he's just taking them.
The Steelers started settling for that because if they tried to play up, he was, I mean, and I love Darius Slay, but that was the end of his NFL career, I think. I think Ja'Marr Chase retired him. What was it? Who was it wasn't retired him, but Pat Surtain, his welcome to the league moment was against Davante Adams. I felt like that game against Ja'Marr Chase was Darius Slay's sayonara to the league moment. Not Jason, against Chase.
Now I watched that game and it was like Flacco, man. I want to say that was like his first game or maybe second game.
I think it was his first game with the Bengals.
And I ain't gonna lie, that game was like, after that game, I'm like, he may be a little bit better than Justin Jefferson right now. But and we seen him do it with Browning as well. You know, that team has been a freaking mess, especially when everyone knows who the ball's going to and he still produces, you know?
Well, he won the Triple Crown last year too. I mean,
Yeah.
again,
Triple Crown is crazy.
I dinged Joe Burrow in our quarterback rankings video because he's not healthy, but he was healthy 2 seasons ago now. And when Jamar finally had him for a full healthy season, this dude won the Triple Crown. Like, to me, he is my number one receiver because he is the best receiver in football at everything. When you combine it all, obviously that's what that shit means. But
that's fair.
In terms of explosive playability, like Jamison Williams and Xavier Worthy, like those guys are high-end speedsters. But in terms of being able to create an explosive play out of anything, there is not a better receiver in football than Jamar Chase.
Just get him the ball.
Just get him the ball, and this dude makes miracles happen. The game that he had both times 2 years ago versus the Ravens was some of the best wide receiver play I have ever seen in my life. They knew he was the guy they were going to, and he could not be stopped 200 plus yards. He was weaving through defenders on screen passes, getting open over the top, slants, breaking through multiple defenders, weaving his way through traffic. When you get him the ball, it is over. It's almost a guaranteed first down if Jamar Chase touches the football, man.
And it's crazy because in person, he doesn't look fast. On TV, he doesn't look like lightning. He doesn't look like
the game speed is just insane.
Yeah, but he just gets the ball and he breaks a tackle and he just runs right past the next two defenders. And I'm like, how did he just make a 35-yard gain out of a screen pass when he was outnumbered? It's crazy. You almost convinced me to put him at one.
I mean, listen. I'm a little biased. He is my favorite player in the league.
I watch him a lot too. I mean, he's in my division.
So yeah, Jamar to me, it's no doubt. I mean, I've had him over Jettis for years. Even the year that Jefferson had the monster season, I've always just been on Chase. It's going to take a lot for me to move him down. And especially when you consider the fact that Joe Burrow only played 8 games this year and Jamar Chase was still 4th in the NFL in receiving yards. Like, the man still had 1,400 yards and 8 touchdowns. I know JSN and Puka did their thing this year, but JSN was on a Super Bowl winning team. Say what you want about Sam Darnold. He's certainly better than Joe Flacco and Jake Browning. And Puka Nacua had Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, who won the MVP all year. We saw it 2 years ago when Jamar Chase has a healthy Joe Burrow. And don't get me wrong, it's Joe Burrow. But, I mean, that's pretty close to Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
The man wins the Triple Crown. So to me, that's why he's number one. But your number one.
My number one is Puka Nacua.
Yep.
Number one. He has you think Justin Jefferson has the best hands? I think that title belongs to Puka Nacua. I think since probably his first game in the NFL, he's been a top 10 wide receiver, probably. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, at the time, you didn't know it.
Nobody knew it. You wouldn't have said it, but
nobody would have said it.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But since his first game, he had 12 catches in his first game for over $130. And that's Stafford noticed his talent right away, And he had Devontae Adams, and they just turned him into a red zone guy. Because when you think about it, every single big play of any Rams game, you knew who was getting the ball. And no one could stop him. The same way for Jamar Chase. You just had to get him the ball. Comparing him to Jamar is really a toss-up,
they're such different receivers. Even though they're both so elite, you're getting such different things. Don't get me wrong. They're both good at everything. They're both good to great at everything, but they play very different. I think Puka's a lot closer to the line of scrimmage, winning on his routes, whereas Jamar is winning on his athleticism. Even deep, Puka's more of a contested catch guy, and Jamar's, hey, this dude's in the dust behind me. Puka is a more gritty, grind it out, go get that first down on a screen pass, run through a dude, where Jamar is, I'll bob and weave through these guys. The one thing I'll say about Puka that I think isn't necessarily underrated, but isn't in the stat sheet that every coach will love, is he's busting his ass it's a run play.
Yeah.
Keep Puka out there because he's going to run block. Like Jamar, that dude ain't run blocking for shit. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. He's just standing there watching the play out and moving on to the next one. Puka is a coach's favorite wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, you know, all the stuff you said about Jamar Chase is true, and it is good. But when I was comparing the two, I'm like, man, I think Puka has the best hands in the league. I think he has the best route running ability in the league because he's not the fastest receiver, but somehow he's always finds a way to get open. Now, having Matt Stafford being able to get you the ball, no look across the field that way when he's looking at the other sideline is convenient. I'm not going to lie, but I think he's top. Well, he may not have the best route running, but he's at least top 3. I think he has the best when it comes to footwork, catching the ball inbounds, like getting 2 feet inbounds. Jamar has not made his bread and butter off of that, but Puka,
no, that's definitely more Jefferson and Puka.
Puka's catches, bro, like are insane. Now they're not, Jetta's one-handers or nothing, but
I don't know, man. I've seen Puka make some crazy freaking catches this year.
Yeah, and I'm
hit a crazy one versus Seattle.
Yeah, I'm still pissed off that he didn't get that Rookie of the Year till this day over CJ Stroud. Till this day, it pisses me off. I'm like, yo, this dude had the best rookie season for a wide receiver. Like, the freaking great receivers that have played in the NFL, Randy Moss and freaking like all of these crazy guys. He had the best receiving season ever and lost to CJ Stroud, bro. This shit. I feel like I've hated CJ Stroud just a little bit ever since that.
Yeah, happened. I feel like you got some resentment towards him for that.
Yeah,
as if he did something to you.
I mean, he did play well, but man, like looking at the trajectory of both of their careers now is like, bro, like I don't know. I feel like some people would respect Puka a little bit more if he just would have got that Rookie of the Year. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but he's my number 1, bro. I'm gonna be honest. And next year I feel like he's gonna play even better next year. Next year when he gets a Super Bowl or a Super Bowl MVP,
maybe it's his turn to win OPOI,
and to win that award with Devontae Adams too. Crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I'll throw both of our lists up on the screen now. I'm remembering off the top of my head, we both had the same top 4 in different orders. I do feel like that's the elite class. I know you had mentioned that JSN wasn't quite in that top 3 elite yet in your mind, but I thought he was there. We both had a Cowboys wide receiver at 5, different ones. Let us know in the comment section down below. I know we both had Amon-Ra in the 6th spot, and then I feel like there's just a lot of conversation that happens afterwards. So maybe Amon-Ra is guaranteed to be top 6 and the top 4 is guaranteed and the rest is up for debate.
No, let me know how y'all feel about George Pickens.
Yeah.
Please. Because you want to talk about the eye test, bro. You want to talk about the eye test. That dude looks unguardable.
Hey, listen, and I get it, man, because, he was on your favorite team for a long time. And I get what it's like to watch guys that that are talented on your team be held back.
It sounded depressing.
Hey, man, it can be. But George Pickens is free now, except he's going to be franchise tagged. But, I don't think he minds it quite too much playing another year in Dallas. Let us know in the comment section below whose list you thought was better, what your list would be. We'll be back next week. I think we're doing running backs. So should be an interesting time because there's a lot to talk about there. We'll see. Maybe we'll have Darian back on for next week. But until next time, we will catch you guys later. Peace.
Yes, sir.